Well, it is finally official. Joe Biden is running for a second term as president, making the same pitch that he made in 2020 to defeat Donald Trump and MAGA Republicanism.
When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. That's why I'm running for re-election.
But while Biden scored a decisive win in the last election, support has dramatically waned since, with a new NBC News poll finding that 70% of Americans don't believe the president should run for a second term. As for Trump, 60% of Americans don't think he should run either. Both are still their party's frontrunners. So what does it mean in a field that is led by candidates that voters don't want? So to discuss this, let's break it down. I'm joined by Jaquetta Van Zandt, host of the Politics and Prosecco videocast, and Jesse Mermel, founder and president of DeWitt Impact Group. Thank you for your time, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
So we were talking about how I feel like these polls indicate a very tired electorate, and because there's just so many things happening. And Jaquetta, I'll start with you. I mean, when you see these numbers, frontrunners for both parties, a president that is rerunning for election. He'll be 82, I believe, was the number on election night. I mean,
taking his age out of it,
yes.
I just think we've had a lot of Biden. You know, he was in the Senate for a while, then he was vice president. I think people may be feeling like, okay, it's time to usher in a new generation, a new era of politics. And I think there's still some nostalgia being connected to him because of Barack Obama, and I think that that's fair. But let's really talk about what he's done. I think he's been, in my opinion, successful so far in bringing all of his promises on the campaign trail to fruition. It's been tough. He's got a really kind of hostile Congress. But I think what Americans, especially younger voters, should be thinking about is, where do we want to see our country in 5 years? Take his age out of it. Take the fact that he's been in public service since, I'm not even going to call out a year. But I think that we should be looking at what he's done and what he needs to still accomplish. And of course, Kamala is there, and we need to see her rise as well.
Mm-hmm. Jesse, I mean, I think we all expected the announcement to come.
Yes.
Right? But
I didn't fall out of my chair at breakfast when I saw that this posted.
Right. But it seems like people don't want him to run, according to this poll, and Trump either. They don't want to see a repeat of that election cycle of 2020.
Well, I think what you said a few moments ago is right. People are exhausted. And how could we not be? I mean, it has been a brutal, traumatic past few years for so many of us. And you turn on the news, with all due respect to your profession,
I get it.
You turn on the news every night, and what's on there is tough. Really, really tough. And the idea that we're going to have to go through another election cycle, I think folks are having a tough time steeling themselves for it. And you're seeing that in the polling numbers. But Jaquetta is exactly right. What is at stake is too important for voters of all ages, all backgrounds, all demographics to tune out. Literally, the future of our democracy remains at stake. The president emphasized that in his video. I hope people will watch it. You showed a clip of it, but it's 3 minutes long. There's a lot of good stuff in there. And we have so much more work to do, despite the progress that he's made. And some areas where he has come up short, which I think he and the rest of the administration would admit there's more work to be done. So this is, I know we say it all the time, but it's one of the most important elections of our lifetime again.
Yeah, I mean, Jaquetta, you mentioned young voters. I mean, do you think that we're going to see turnout be lower this next election cycle?
I'm hoping not, but
Yeah.
I've been in this field for a long time. And when people are exhausted, as Jesse has said, it tends to go down. What I think is important is for anchor institutions like NAACP, Boston Chinatown Neighborhood Center, the Urban League, places like that, Mass Women's Political Caucus, for them to really show up and show out and remind people of why it's important to not only stay in touch, but it's important to get to the polls that day. You know, we talk a lot about voter registration. I think we're past that. Now it's about voter mobilization. We got to get people from the registration card into the box.
Do you think that people are ready for someone who is more exciting? I guess, you know, I think of all the folks who were running in the 2020 cycle, and you had someone like a Cory Booker. I mean, Kamala Harris was there, and people were very excited around her campaign. Do you think people are just like, let's do something new?
Well, let's be clear, Kamala Harris is still there.
She's there.
She's the vice president. She'll be on the
president,
ticket.
yeah.
Listen, I remember being in Copley Square a few days after the election when we finally learned that Joe Biden had won. And people were honking their horns, popping out of car windows, cheering, hugging strangers. I mean, I don't think we can discount how smart the American people are in understanding how important this is and knowing that that is what is exciting. You know, Joe Biden has tried and true fans who will come out and work hard for him. And I think, you know, to Jaquetta's point about young voters, this administration needs them to turn out big. Tufts University, after the last election in 2020, did some research, and they went from 42 to 44% turnout in 2016 to turnout in the low 50%, including in major battleground states. I mean, young voters and black voters, particularly black women, have to be excited about a Biden-Harris administration, period, full stop, for them to win re-election. And they have some real policy wins in this area. Attempting to cancel student debt, the vice president's leadership around tackling abortion rights. They have things they can talk about, their leadership, their success, to get those voters excited, to use your word. But there's work to be done, no question. I think that's what campaigns are for, though.
And women, black women in particular, white women, Asian, we can't keep saving democracy.
No.
I'm tired of caping. So it's now or never.
Yeah. When we talk about the Republicans, though, and Donald Trump is we're presuming he's going to get the Republican nomination. You have Ron DeSantis, who has not officially, entered the race, as he said in a very famous clip that's going on as a meme right now on social media.
What you don't want to happen.
Right, exactly. So as it seems like the GOP is looking for something different as well. And I don't know that that's Ron DeSantis, but it seems like there are folks who vote Republican that are looking for someone who isn't necessarily making headlines because they're in the middle of a court case.
I mean, they have they're on a field of minds, and they're just blowing up everywhere.
Right.
You've got Tucker Carlson on Fox News and that fallout.
Yes.
You've got Ron DeSantis acting like a completely unsympathetic
Tyrant?
Really,
Tyrant, the word you're looking
I was
for?
trying. I was like, what word can I use on TV?
Yeah, tyrant. Yeah.
And then you have Marjorie Taylor Greene
That's right.
completely like reiterating the same rhetoric over and over again. Everywhere they step, it's blowing up on them. So I think what is important for them is to either get back to where moderate Republicans were, the John McCain's of the world, if we considered him moderate, but that kind of graceful, dignified way of running a clean race where you're actually talking about the issues and not talking about rhetoric, that's going to be important for them.
I'm also thoughtful about, we're going to pull up some numbers where when we talk about his age, and I know that we didn't want to necessarily focus on President Biden's age, but that was a big part of this NBC News poll. And the question there was, is President Biden's age a reason he shouldn't run for president? And 69% of the people also said yes.
I mean, Ronald Reagan was like 102. Like, I don't know if the age. I don't think it's fair to talk about ageism, because when women come into the field, our age is the first thing that they talk about, and then it's the looks, or maybe it's looks and then age. I don't think for me it's enough. I'd rather have somebody with wisdom and who's been through the rope. But, I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
I mean, the one thing those numbers tell me is that the Biden campaign has to show every single day that he is vibrant, that he is energetic, that he is youthful, and that he is healthy. And whether that's fair or not is a different conversation. It's just the reality, right? He is going to be 82 on election night. It's not an unreasonable question for folks to ask. They're going to have to be transparent, and both in words and actions and imagery, he's going to need to display that vitality every single day. And by doing that, they'll address the issue.
I'm only careful because I feel like when women come to that stage, like, the conversation tends to be different. Like, why are we talking about our age? Why are we talking about our looks? So I want to be careful about that. Look, my dad is 75. I think he's old. But he
your
is.
Dad watching?
I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
But he is, and he owns that. And I think Biden is owning it. And I think him talking about the issues, what he's been doing, I think for the last at least 3 months I've seen, I think he's staying on track with that. He's staying on message, as we say.
So when we go back to what voters are going to be basically casting their ballot on these issues, like we're going to be talking about abortion and abortion rights. We're going to be talking about now we're deciding whether or not the FDA can actually regulate medicine. We're going to be talking about a number of issues, but it seems like that may not be good for Republicans, because every time these conversations happen, it becomes a divisive issue.
So the Republicans are facing the reality, the consequences of their own actions.
That's true.
For years, they have been out of step with the majority of Americans on issue after issue after issue, on abortion rights, on climate change, on voting rights, on healthcare. We can go on down the list. They are consistently out of step. And now we have seen in multiple elections since the threat against Roe, which, by the way, a lot of us have known about for decades, and many of us said many people said we were hysterical. That's just a slight chip I have on my shoulder. But we are seeing in elections, in ballot questions, Republicans are facing the consequences. And regardless of that, they still do incredibly stupid things in this area to try to appeal to their base. And they are going to have a hard time pivoting in the general to make people, particularly women, particularly people who care about abortion rights, convincing them that they can be trusted with this when they have shown the harm that they not only have done, but intend to continue to do around a host of issues, not just abortion, around marriage, around voting rights, and we can go on down the line.
Banning books.
Banning books.
And despite what people think, that their base is actually getting smaller, shrinking. It is not getting bigger. And I don't know if it has to do with the insurrection or the latest, shootings. I just think a lot of people are starting to sort of back from the Republican rhetoric. And so hopefully we'll see that trend, and it will change during the preliminaries and then on to the general.
The one thing I'll add is, despite the incredible advantage we have in this area on the Democratic side, we can take nothing for granted.
Nothing.
If we've learned nothing these past few years, the Republicans, particularly the extremist MAGA Republicans, are willing to lie, spin, do anything to convince folks to come to their side. And so we cannot look at those numbers and say, we're good. We have to work and run through the tape.
Jesse for president.
What do you think the number one issue for folks is going to be going into the 2024 general election?
I think for me and my circle is certainly reproductive rights, because it's not just about abortion. It's about access to health care, and that access to health care is equitable, and that people are feeling heard. I'm the daughter of a breast cancer survivor. Planned Parenthood is where I got my first breast exam. It is important to know that, these issues specifically for women and issues that women face, that's going to be the number one on a lot of people in my circle. It's our number one issue that we're concerned about. And of course, look, the affirmative action and how they're trying to roll that back.
Yes.
That's very scary. That's scary for white women, since they really do benefit from affirmative action. And so I think women are really going to show up this time around, because we make the decisions at home. I'm sorry if that impugned anyone's manhood, but we make those decisions. And so those are going to be the issues that really matter to us.
Yeah.
Jaquetta's right, and the polling bears that out, right? Abortion rights at the top for virtually everyone. Listen, the economy and pocketbook issues are always important. The Biden administration has a strong story to tell there. Obviously, there have been waivers along the way, but they have kept us on the straight and narrow. I think courts in general are going to be important in a way that they have not been, including lower courts. We saw that Texas court make the Mifepristone ruling around abortion medication. People are paying attention in a whole new way. The climate crisis, where the Biden administration has largely done well, but they have turned off young voters with their decision around drilling in Alaska. There are multiple issues that I think are going to be top of mind, and they're going to have to tackle all of them.
I think with the climate issue too as well, the UN has also rung that bell again and again and again. And as you see the global community start to put more pressure on Western countries like the US and the UK, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. And don't discount the international environment with China, with Ukraine, Sudan. There's so much going on. And who knows what happens between now and Election Day 2024. That's what we're going into,
But
right?
This is where coordinated campaigns really make a difference, because the presidential campaign can link up with, there's a bunch of senators running, there's a bunch of House reps running. So this is where coordinated campaigns come in. They need to continue to hammer in that message that this is what the presidency is doing. And you sending I was going to say Barack Obama, Joe Biden back there, this is what we can all do as a collective. Like, they are going to have to link up with people because he can't just do it by himself. And,
Right.
and the DNC can't do it by themselves. They have to really work with the D-TRIP and the DSCC and really get that word out.
Especially when we're talking about folks who are concerned about his age and his relevancy down into communities. That connection piece there. What, I mean, if you're in the campaign offices of either of these candidates, I mean, you might be fielding some phone calls from, various attorney generals if you're in Trump's, campaign office. But, I mean, what are you advising them, since now it looks like we've got a race going?
Oh, man. This,
Right?
I mean, I don't even know where to start, but I
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that the Trump campaign is going to take my phone calls and take my advice. I would say, change your entire platform, change all of your potential candidates, and just fold as a party.
Draw
would be
them out,
my
right.
advice.
Because the data bears that out, though, right?
The data
poll says
absolutely
that.
bears that
Yeah.
out. But if Joe Biden's team calls me and asks me for advice, I would say team up with the incredible surrogates on the ground, the incredible community leaders who can vouch not just for him as a person, but for his record, and talk about that record and talk about, with honesty, the work that needs to be done. I was openly critical of the Biden administration when they dropped paid leave from earlier legislation. That was hugely important to me, and I was angry. But they've now come forward with the strongest paid leave and child care package in the past few weeks that we've seen in the history of this country, and they seem to be actively pushing it. And so they can go out and talk honestly. Voters are smart. We want to hear what's really going on. Listen, we couldn't get it done that first time, but we promised we weren't dropping the ball, and we kept our promise, and we're still fighting for it. So I would tell them to go out, have candid, meaningful conversations about policy, look people in the eye, and tell the real story. Voters are smart.
surrogates are the most important people.
Yeah.
They really, really are.
All right. Well, Jaquetta Van Zandt and Jessie Mermel, always an electric conversation with you ladies. Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
you.
Thanks for having us.